a brewing controversy, believe it or not, in women's volleyball. Yeah. Exavier Pope is in from Chicago. He's up with Alex White. Say hi, Alex.
Xavier, hello. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Alex? What's up, Steve?
A lot. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Okay. Now, UNLV is going to be involved in the story in the next couple of weeks. Right now, we got to deal with a transgender player, and I don't mean we have to deal with. We've got a deal with a story with San Jose State women's volleyball team having a transgender player, and the state of Idaho is with the state of Utah, and clearly Wyoming's going to want in that triumvirate. They don't want to play, and they're not going to play. They're canceling games against San Jose State. So give me your knowledge of the story and your thoughts.
When it comes down to it, Steve, we are living in a time where people think they individually feel they are responsible for pushing the agenda in coming close to election, and it's coming the next month. People feel as if that's an issue for right-wing politics in America. It's something that you see that's been being pushed, and so I think that's part of the story, and also to make now stick sports is now use sports to be able to stick to your agenda.
Well, a couple things here. Personally, I don't like liars, and I really don't like bullies. I don't want people in my business. And when you're in my business, don't lie to me about when you're in my business. The Utah governor, Spencer Cox, said the big deal here is we preserving a space for women to compete fairly and safely. There is, I guess I should be open to it. There is no argument I can hear where this is a safety issue. Cut the crap. That's not your primary concern. It's not a safety issue in a volleyball game.
Yeah, they act like someone's going to sexually assault someone on the volleyball court or attack someone. Yeah, but that's all part of that rhetoric in terms of the transphobia that's going on, and I think that it's disingenuous. And like I said before, I think it goes beyond just playing the game. I think it's part of pushing various agendas politically, and that's why you're seeing it happen right now. And the timing seems to be perfect.
Let's get into women's basketball because I could do this for 10 minutes and get more and more infuriated, but we'll move on for now. We'll handle it on our own. Exavier Pope is with us. All right, Alex, let's get into Caitlin Clark. So I thought this cool award, but we still got controversy, huh?
So Caitlin Clark finally is announced she did win the Rookie of the Year. Do you think she deserved it, or do you think that Angel Reese should have been the winner of this award this year?
I think it's obvious that Caitlin Clark was the best rookie, had the best rookie season. Their team with the playoffs before they were bounced out and swept by the Sun. But I think that when you tell the story of a season, looking back, it doesn't appear to be Caitlin Clark dominated this season is how it should be looked at. So I think that maybe having a couple votes going another player's way, it doesn't taint the award for her. She still wins the award. Angel Reese had a historical season herself before she succumbed to injury for that team, and they wound up firing their coach after the season when they didn't make the playoffs. So I do think there's something to be said about her season as well, and it's okay that someone voted for her.
Now, there was something that came out that Sue Bird said that Caitlin Clark was used as a pawn. Do you agree with her?
Caitlin Clark was used as a pawn in terms of in the current politics you see in a lot of the incel culture. And I've talked about this on air with Steve a number of times. And when you see people standing up for the black women in the WNBA, you see some of the vitriol that's placed to them. And we talked about this last week in terms of some of the different things that happens in games. And how that needs to be toned down, and making sure that people who just came to the sport are not for the women of the game, who basically hated the women's basketball to begin with, and now they want to watch women's basketball because of something that seems a little bit more insidious than bouncing a ball and putting it inside of a hoop.
So I thought there was an interesting line in there with Sue Bird about racism has been around well before this in the WNBA. Do you believe
Yeah.
that? Because I feel like this has been a flashpoint that we've never seen before in the WNBA.
Oh, I think the intensity of it definitely is unique, but there's been stories about how the WNBA market is players in terms of marketing its white players more than it marketed its black players. That was part of the sport for some time. That was being talked about in the sport, and so I don't think that's it's any different than now. It's just a hyper focus on it because the transcendent talent, frankly, that Caitlin Clark has in attaching the attention of the sport.
Can we go back to swoops for a second? I know you had some takes on that.
Yeah, well, I think that I guess people talked about her being a hater of Caitlin Clark, and I think the Caitlin Clark thing is kind of complicated because there are people who want to stand up for the players that are current that have laid the groundwork and for the WNBA to grow and get bigger contracts, and to disregard those people and put them to the side just for one particular person. I think that people feel slighted by that, and particularly with some of the politics that are around that. So, and there is some empathy to be paid for people who feel as if their sport is now getting attention or being attacked because of racial politics. And I think that's unfortunate for the sport, and particularly that's growing and is getting more fans, and actually is a really great league to watch and to follow.
All right, let's talk about the reporting on the league. There are a lot of people worked up at veteran reporter Christine Brennan. Why, and what do you think?
Well, the question she asked that we talked about this last week with the nails and the comment and about the poking in the eye of Caitlin Clark. Was that intentional? And the way she asked it, I think people criticized her about that. And then Sarah Spain interviewed her to ask her about it, and I think that she was pretty much sticking to her level type of reporting. If I have this vantage point and I look at from this perspective, this is how I'm going to report it. And I don't think she's backing down from that. But frankly, Steve, there's a market for that. Just like there's a market for people who want to criticize Caitlin Clark unnecessarily, and they get attention for that. And so, as long as there's attention for these take, we live in a hot take culture, Steve. As long as we live in a hot take culture, that's going to sell just as many tickets, it seems like, on shows and in clicks as it is as a player on the field.
The head of the Players Association of Brennan said the questions were a blatant attempt to bait a professional athlete into participating in a narrative that is false and designed to fuel racist, homophobic, and misogynist vitriol on social media. Is that person referencing the angle of the nails to the eye?
Absolutely. That's and I think that it was a bold statement by the players union, and I think it was worth. You as a union, your job is to vigorously defend the people that are in the union. I don't see any union that does that any better than police unions in the country. No matter what happens, they're going to stand by their guy. I don't, and regardless of what side, whether your player is right or wrong, that's the ultimate objective. And I think that they did so forcefully, and I think a lot of people celebrated them for it.
All right, I can accept that the Players Association's job is to defend all of their members rigorously. I don't know that I can accept that the motive behind asking about the nails to the eye is absolutely racist. When I watched, Willie Ramirez and I argued about it for like 4 days on the nails to the eye. I thought it was intentional.
You thought it was or wasn't?
I thought it was. I don't know. I played enough basketball. I don't remember trying to block a shot and then my hand pointing down into someone's face on the follow through.
Yeah, I mean,
I wasn't blocking five balls a game, but I don't remember the follow through going like kind of pointed down. But I guess this is an issue we can, and there's other angles because obviously she's writing a book about Caitlin Clark. She tried to follow up. Then there's all the stuff from last week with Whitlock saying that Dejanay and Smith have their booze and Smith wasn't playing hard. There's a lot going on in this, so I suppose the Players Association has to step up and just say, hey, we don't agree with the direction this is going in.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Steve. But you're talking about incidents on the court and the nature of the game itself. And a lot of people have compared the WNBA, the 90s NBA, but if you want to try to analyze how the sport is played and the physicality of the sport, we'll leave the women that have been covering the game for years to talk about those issues. And I think that should be front and center about how the sport is covered. And unfortunately, it's this other stuff. And I think the WNBA is also putting themselves in a position to say, hey, if we defend this right here, we have the right to pull the game back so that what's substantively covered on the field and the type of culture the game is outside of this politics can actually be the center story of the game.
Exavier Pope is with us up with Alex White, Steve Cofield & Company, hanging out at Stadium Swim. I need to jump in the pool and cool down. I've been yelling all day. Last couple things. I saw you say, I feel like baseball is a very regional sport. I saw you say you can't wait for the Padres and the Dodgers. It should be a good one. So you're into this, even though it's two West Coast franchises?
Those are two West Coast franchises, but those are the two most talented rosters in the game. Steve. You got a bunch of stars on those teams, and those two teams have been kind of going toward each other in terms of their trajectory for quite some time. Unfortunately, it's happened this early in the playoffs, but this is where it's at. I'm excited to see it.
And they don't like each other, and now San Diego apparently is blocking anyone with LA Zips from buying tickets. They're still going to get tickets. They're just going to pay more for them, but I guess that's what a rivalry is all about. All right, you're into this more than I am in terms of this universe. What are you looking forward to more? And there's availability on these, I think, both already. But anyway, Penguin or Joker 2?
I'm not really excited for anything that DC does, but Joker 2, a musical, Steve. I didn't know it was a musical. People said it was like they said it would be. And I have no interest in watching a movie with the Joker singing. I know they had the animated series where the Joker was singing. That's perfectly fine. But I want my superhero movies with a bunch of like really gritty, fun, crazy scenes, not like Rent.
I mean, all those things you used to describe it before you said Rent. I mean, that is Lady Gaga. She's very gritty. She's very edgy. She's fun.
Why don't she can straight act though? She doesn't have to sing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Okay. So I saw Penguin episode 1. Have you watched? Or are you looking forward to it?
I haven't watched it, but I'm gonna actually give it a look. See, check it out.
I thought the first episode was one of the best things I've seen in a long time. So that's really building it up. But I have a feeling that a lot of you guys in that universe are not going to like it.
Why you say that, Steve?
Well, because it's very – I don't know the backstory. I really don't know the backstory of the Penguin. This adaptation is very – in episode 1, it's very mob and organized crime all tied together. But I don't know if that's the original story of the Penguin's rise to misery, I guess.
Thing. Yeah, that was always people want that stuff. That's always been associated with the thing with the mob stuff.
Okay. See, I'm learning something. So it is true to form.
Yeah, true to form.
All right, Exavier. Well, we may be talking about the volleyball thing next week in a reset because UNLV women's volleyball is set to play in San Jose against San Jose State and the transgender player on the 12th. So that's next Saturday. So we'll see.
Hopefully there's a positive direction with this and this not becomes a big thing over UNLV.
See you, Exavier. Love you, buddy.
Love you too, guys.
UNLV kind of can't win in that situation, can they? They're going to be in the middle of this firestorm. It's a different level firestorm because it's been so politicized and they're still involved in conference chaos. And hopefully by then they'll be out of the SLUCA NIL stuff, but maybe not. So I'm sure they're looking around. They're like, the attention is really good, but right now, just everyone enjoy football. Right. Yay. Yeah. They're winning. Another hour
for the first time in program history.
I know, and you can't concentrate on it. Alex is here. It's Cofield Circa.
Sunday morning football as the Miami Dolphins are in Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. 10 a.m. on 12:30 The Game. Brought to you by Finley Chevrolet, home of the...
Join Cofield & Company each Friday live at the Golden Circle Sportsbook and Bar inside Treasure Island. 55-plus TVs, 24/7 betting kiosk, great food and drink specials, and even breakfast for the football games on the weekend. We'll see you Fridays at the Golden Circle Sportsbook and Bar with ESPN.